Welcome back to the Motorcycle Travel Channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about the new DJI Osmo 360 camera and why it's become my new favorite 360 camera for motorcycle travel. If you're in the market for a new 360 camera to film your motorcycle travel adventures, I hope you find this video useful. Welcome to Croatia. That's where I am right now in Dubrovnik, getting ready to go on a 12-day motorcycle ride from Croatia to Greece. And this video is sponsored by the brand new DJI Osmo 360 camera. That's the camera that I'm using right now, and the camera that will be mounted on the front of my motorcycle. So I've been using this DJI Osmo 360 camera, and I've had it mounted here on the handlebar of the motorcycle, and I've been using it primarily just to get a second camera angle to complement the Osmo Action 5 that I'm using on my helmet. And how I use this is either to get a shot of myself or a shot of the road ahead from this position. And if I film in the 360 mode, of course, I can later choose any angle that I want when I'm in post-production. A lot of times I won't use the 360 mode. I'll just have it in the single lens mode, so it's either shooting front or rear, and I can just change that by pressing this button even while it's recording. I also use it quite a bit when I'm off the motorcycle, just for general walking and talking, kind of vlogging. I'll just take it off of the mount here, I'll attach it to the battery handle, and then I can walk around and film things and talk to the camera as well. So very versatile, this camera. Gives me something a little bit different, just some more options. One of the key features of this camera is that it features a 1/1.1 inch sensor for 360-degree imaging. The Osmo 360 is equipped with the industry's first square high dynamic image sensor. You can see the different resolutions here from 4K up to 8K. And we have frame rate options going from 24 all the way up to 50. And of course we have our choice of lenses, the standard, D-warp, the wide, and the ultra wide. This is the first 360 camera I've used that has acceptable image quality, even when I crop into D-warp. It has a dynamic range of 13.5 stops, which means it can capture clear, sharp images with really good tonality gradations between the light and dark areas of the image. Here's a shot going through some trees where you can see the dynamic range between the bright areas of the screen and the darker areas. And here's a shot going through some tunnels where you can also see the dynamic range of this camera. When it comes to low light performance, because this has a 1-inch 360-degree imaging sensor, it increases the amount of light entering the camera, and so you can capture more details even in low light environments. You can also turn on the super night mode. The videos that are captured are really clear, giving you stunning night footage. So I use several DJI cameras, and one of the things that I like the most is that they all use the same color science and the same color profiles. If I film in the 10-bit D-Log-M mode, I can just apply the LUT and maybe do some minor tweaks and my footage looks really good. So obviously this camera supports panoramic videos, and it does so in 8K resolution up to 50 frames per second, and the 360-degree mode is what you would use to get these amazing shots that you can't get any other way. I have the DJI Osmo 360 mounted on the selfie stick, getting this invisible selfie stick shot. So these would be the different modes of the camera. You have a panoramic photo mode, panoramic video, super night, selfie mode, vortex, and time lapse. And there's also a single lens mode, which means that you're only filming from either one of the two lenses. So in the single lens mode, you can shoot 155-degree ultra wide angle at up to 5K 60 frames per second. And it also supports fast switching between the front and rear lenses without interrupting recording. And I really like that feature when I'm riding down the road. I can be recording the point of view that I see of the road ahead with one lens, and then I press that button and it switches to the other camera, and now I can get a shot of my face as I'm looking forward going down the road. And finally, there's also a time-lapse mode which supports two different types of time-lapse, both time-lapse and hyperlapse. So these are the batteries that the Osmo 360 uses. And of course, this is the charging case, which has a USB-C charging port right here. And so I basically just charge this up in the nighttime, carry a few extra batteries with me during the day, and replace them as needed. So one of the really cool things with this camera is that it has built-in storage. And on my recent motorcycle trip to Croatia, I never once put an SD card into this camera. I just used the internal storage. I would back up my footage in the nighttime, delete the footage from the camera, and just roll again the next day. I never put an SD card into this camera once on that 12-day trip. And finally, I should mention that this camera is waterproof up to a depth of 10 meters without a case. It's basically rainproof. Now let's talk about one of my favorite parts of using this camera, and that is the DJI ecosystem of user-friendly accessories that you can use with this camera. So I'll typically use this little DJI mic mini inside of my helmet, and then the audio wirelessly goes from this microphone to my DJI camera. There we go. Wireless mic is attached inside the helmet. The camera will be completely waterproof, one of the benefits of using the wireless microphone. And this little microphone is also great for just handheld vlogging. And then when I get off the bike, I just clip the little mic to myself. And so I can just continue filming and talking. Because it has this wind muff on it, it prevents that wind noise that can often happen when you're walking around talking to the camera. And the battery life on this little mic mini is pretty good. I found that I can power it up in the morning and use it all day long without the battery wearing out. And then in the evening, I just put it back in its case and attach the case to a USB power supply, and it recharges all my microphones ready to go for the next day. This is one of my favorite accessories. It's called the battery extension rod. And it basically features a high capacity battery inside of here so that when the camera is attached to it, it's recharging from the handle into the camera. It has a power button, a record button, and the ability to switch back and forth when you're in that single lens mode. I found this to be really useful for just kind of walking around, talking, handheld vlogging. It would be useful if this was a tripod. It's not, but I have this little tripod from my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and it just screws into the bottom here just like that. And so it can become a miniature tripod as well. My other favorite part of the DJI Osmo ecosystem is the magnetic mount. All of these DJI cameras and products use the same magnetic mount solution, and there are so many different accessories for different purposes. This is the 1.2 meter tripod selfie stick, and I've added the DJI magnetic mount to the top. And what I like about this is that it's basically a tripod that is super fast to deploy. If I just hit it like that, boom. And then it also has the selfie stick built into it. So it's really easy to set up quickly. And then when I'm done with it, I just fold it back up like that. It's lightweight, packs in my bag really easy. And it's basically just the fastest, lightest way of getting my camera onto a tripod that I can think of. So what are my overall impressions with this camera? Well, I'll say that it's rugged, it's very easy to use, it's reliable, everything worked well. I did not have any glitches whatsoever with the software or using it, and you can get some really unique and creative footage. It's cool that you don't need to worry which way the camera is pointing when you're in the 360-degree mode. You just film and it films everything all around you. I used the 360 function to get some cool shots where I later would go in and keyframe so you could see one perspective and then the camera pans and then you see another perspective. I was able to use it to get some really cool invisible selfie stick shots. I like that you have different lens options, whether you're in the 360 mode or the single lens mode. You can go super wide, or you can de-warp it to get a more traditional angle. I like the single lens mode, especially when it's mounted on the motorcycle. I can either record the point of view in front of me or a shot looking back at myself. I really like that it fits in with other DJI products like the wireless mics and their batteries, and of course all of the magnetic mounting options. The only cons that I would say is that the lens could be really easy to damage, but DJI does have a lens replacement service. You would have to send it into them, so it might take a few days, but that is available. One of the hiccups I've noticed is that I'm not able to start quick recording in the single lens mode. Maybe that's something that can be changed later in a firmware update. One of the biggest issues, and it's not an issue with the camera itself per se, is that when you do shoot in the 360-degree mode, you're going to have to use DJI Studio software in order to see that footage and in order to go back in and reframe all of your shots if you want to use those in your editing software. So that's a little bit extra workload. Another thing I noticed is that when I do that reframing process in DJI Studio and then I export those clips, all of those new files don't have the time signature of the original footage, and so it just makes the editing a little bit harder. So my ultimate recommendation for this camera, it's fun, it's rugged, it's reliable. Would it replace my other cameras like my Osmo Action 5 that I use on my helmet all the time? No, absolutely not. But it works great as a second camera to give me some extra creative shots or to record that 360 perspective, which will allow me to go back in later and make choices. So this is definitely not going to be the only camera that I use, but it has its place. It's fun, it's creative, it's reliable, and I'm really looking forward to using it some more.